mathematicians. Today we're going to be learning about fractions, and more specifically how to convert improper fractions to mixed numbers. To get us started, we're going to use the example 9/2. And whenever we see a fraction, whether it's a regular fraction or an improper fraction, the operation here is division. So essentially, 9/2 is the same as 9 divided by 2. And what we could do is we could divide in order to convert our improper fraction to a mixed number. And let me show you how to do that. So we take our dividend, which is 9, and write that on the inside. And then we take our divisor, which is 2, and write that on the outside. So the numerator essentially is our dividend, and our denominator is essentially our divisor. And then we just divide. So we ask ourselves, how many times does 2 go into 9? Well, 2 goes into 9 4 times. And that's because 2 times 4 is equal to 8. So we're going to go ahead and write the 8 here. And then we're going to go and subtract these two numbers. So 9 minus 8 is equal to 1. So notice that we have a remainder of 1, but we're going to take what we have here and write out our mixed number. So we know that 2 goes into 9 4 whole times, which is why when we write our mixed number, 4 is going to be our whole number because it goes into 9 4 times. Then we have a remainder of 1, and that's going to be our numerator because that's what's left over. We have 1 part out of 2, which is our divisor. So again, 2 goes into 9 4 whole times. We have a remainder of 1, and that would be out of 2 because 2 is our divisor. All right? So 9/2 is equivalent to 4 1/2. And that's how we would take our improper fraction and write it as a mixed number using division. Now let's do another example. And here we have 17/3. And again, we're going to do the same thing. This is essentially division, so we're going to rewrite it as 17 divided by 3. And again, remember that our numerator is our dividend and our denominator is our divisor. And then we just divide. We ask ourselves, how many times could 3 go into 1? Well, it can't. So then we ask ourselves, how many times could 3 go into 17? And 3 goes into 17 5 whole times because 3 times 5 is equal to 15. So we write the 15 here, and then we subtract these two numbers. 17 minus 15 is equal to 2. So 3 goes into 17 5 whole times with a remainder of 2. We're going to take these numbers and write out our mixed number. So our whole number is going to be 5 because 3 goes into 17 5 whole times with a remainder of 2, which is our numerator. And then we're dividing by 3, so that's going to be our denominator. All right? So we know that 17/3 is equivalent to 5 2/3. So let's do another example. Here we have 26/4. We're going to rewrite that as a division problem. So 26 divided by 4. And remember that our numerator is our dividend and our denominator is our divisor. And then we're just going to divide. So we ask ourselves, how many times does 4 go into 2? Well, it doesn't. So then we ask ourselves, how many times does 4 go into 26? And well, 4 goes into 26 6 times, and that's because 4 times 6 is equal to 24. We're going to write the 24 here and then subtract. 26 minus 24 is 2. And so we're going to go ahead and write this as a mixed number. So we know that 4 goes into 26 6 whole times. That makes our whole number 6. And then we know that we have a remainder of 2, and that's our numerator. And we're dividing by 4, so that is going to be our denominator. all right? So we know that 26 over 4 is equivalent to 6 2/4. However, notice here that we could simplify our fraction 2/4. We could divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2 because that's their greatest common factor. And so 26 over 4 is equivalent to 6 2/4, which is equivalent to 6 and 1 over 2, or 6 1/2. Here we have our final example, which is 19 over 5. And we're going to rewrite that as a division problem. And so we have 19 divided by 5. Remember that our dividend is our numerator and our divisor is our denominator. Then we ask ourselves, how many times does 5 go into 1? And it does not go into 1 any times. So then we ask ourselves, how many times does 5 go into 19? Well, 5 goes into 19 3 times. And that's because 5 times 3 is equal to 15. And that's as close as we could get without passing the 19. So we're going to take this and subtract. And so 19 minus 15 is equal to 4. So here, 5 goes into 19 3 whole times, which makes 3 our whole number. Then we have a remainder of 4, making that our numerator. And we're dividing by 5, so that's our denominator. And so we know that 19 over 5 is equivalent to 3 4/5. And that's it.